Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today, you're in for a treat. John Jonas, this guy outsourced his entire business. He did it over a decade ago because he had to, and he's still growing, and probably growing because of the changes, the radical changes he had to make due to a health issue with his wife that we get into. So you are in for a treat, and this is actually inspiring me. I told him when we were done that I'm on his website right now. I am going to make this a goal to outsource as much of my business as I can, starting literally now. As soon as I finish this up, I've already got his website pulled up. I'm registering, and I already had a proposal from someone to help with some overseas staffing. But I'm going even deeper. We're going all in, baby, so watch out. So you're in for a treat with this interview, as long as, like all interviews, you take the action that we recommend at the end. And we'll have a link for you there as well in the show notes, which is always a blog post on the website. If you need additional help, though, in growing your sales, if you are talking to people, if you're trying to get indoors, if you're trying to set appointments, if you're trying to reach decision makers, befriend gatekeepers, reach mutually agreed upon agendas before you show up, get to the truth, build a consensus, then check out the Make Every Sale program, makeeverysale.com. It's where you can get lifetime access for the moment. That will be changing, but right now you still, when you enroll, become a member, lifetime access. We do calls 2 or 3 times a week, live, video, interactive, 40-plus videos, 41 videos right now that were professionally produced, and then supplemental videos that I make to drive home a point. You get templates, you get scripts, everything you need to help you make every sale. So check that out, makeeverysale.com. Now, let's bring on our guest. John Jonas, smoothie in hand, fresh off the run. You got the endorphins going. You are ready to be on the Sales Podcast, aren't you?
I am ready for it.
All right, man. Well, welcome. You're up in Utah. You know, you probably don't realize this, but I've followed you for a long time, man. I bet we've been in this house almost 8 years, and I was reading about you before we moved here. You had an interesting story. Was it your wife fell ill and you had to figure out how to get more done in less time, right? And that led to your OnlineJobs.ph?
Yeah, she was pregnant with our third kid, and the doctor told her she had preeclampsia.
Oh, okay.
She didn't go on strict bed rest. She was gonna lose the baby and potentially die.
Wow.
And that was like, holy crap.
Right.
You know, she's going on strict bed rest. I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing, take care of my 2 other kids, and I got to figure out how to make my business continue. So,
and so what was your business back then?
I was running affiliate businesses where we had websites and sending people to them, and they had good content and affiliate links on them. People click the link and they buy whatever it is, and then I get paid.
Right.
So,
but I mean, you made this change like, if I remember, it was almost overnight, right? I mean, it was really fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was like we're at the doctor's office, and I hear this from the doctor saying she has 3 to 5 weeks of strict bed rest. And I was like, dude, I'm not about to lose a baby or my wife over money, so I can't work.
Right.
And so, I was working 40, 50 hours a week, and I went home and immediately stopped work completely and turned everything I had over to these 2 guys in the Philippines who, they had been working. I don't want people to get the wrong idea, like, oh, I pulled these guys off the street and all of a sudden they're running my business.
Right.
I've had them working for me for like 18 months.
Okay.
But all of a sudden I just turned everything over to them.
Right.
And I told them the whole story of, here's my wife, here's my situation. I have these 2 other kids and blah, blah. And I had given them training, and I spent as much time as I could giving them extra training, but there wasn't much. I had a 2 and a 4-year-old at the time.
Right.
And my wife on bed rest.
Right.
So yeah, it was like overnight, I just stopped working.
So necessity is the mother of invention, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I've found, so, I mean, for the next 3 weeks after that happened, I worked like an hour a week. And after that, I continued she had the baby, and I had found that I had replaced myself, so I didn't go back to work where these guys were like doing everything in my business.
Right.
And, I don't think it was happening as well as if I was doing it, but it was still happening,
Right.
And that was kind of where I learned, like, these guys are really talented. Like, they're way better than I thought they were. Because before this, I really kind of only had them doing menial work, and I was overseeing everything that they were doing. Like, I was looking at everything.
Right.
And I learned, like, oh, they're super capable. And that was the first time I had like seen the 4-hour work week in reality,
Right. So you had already read that book?
I had read it and thought, oh, this is kind of a lot of the stuff he described was me, like the way I did things.
Right.
It just wasn't working the way that he said.
Right.
But I think I was I don't remember exactly the sequence, but that was soon after I had read it that all of a sudden I was living it.
Right.
And it was real.
So you were probably like most entrepreneurs, right? Think if it's going to be done right, I'm going to do it myself. And so
oh yeah,
you had a couple of guys, like you said, they were just doing some menial work, right? But the big important things, you're going to do. And you say, though, I mean, they weren't quite as good as you, but, were you finding, were there still glitches and typos? I mean, did it drive you up a wall, or was it like, hey, it's good enough, money's still coming in, I'm just going to let it ride? So
what it was in the beginning, it was more the second thing, but it was a combination of the two, where it was like, I hate writing. I hate it, but it has to get done.
Right.
And if it's up to me, it's just plain not getting done.
Right.
Where when I had this guy in the Philippines, it's getting done. And not only is it getting done, yes, he has some grammar mistakes, but we can fix that. But it's not only getting done, but he's also then writing the content and then posting it on the websites where it needs to get posted. And he's creating links to my website with it, and he's creating links to the content that he's creating with it. And he's doing this entire process that it was up to me before. Right. And so it just plain wasn't getting done because I hated it.
If you hated it, why didn't you outsource it earlier?
I tried.
Okay.
So I tried a couple things. I had tried hiring people in India, and that was a disaster for me. And I had tried hiring local people, and the very first thing they did was quit because they were like, oh, I see what you're doing here, and I'll just do this on my own, Right. I tried it with 4 different people locally.
Right. Now, is that because they were too smug, or basically they'd see your business model and say, oh, hell, I can go do this myself, and basically stole your idea?
Yeah, they saw my business model at the time, right? And I tried doing it with contract workers. At the time, it was Odesk or Elance. Today, it's Upwork. They've combined. And the problem with that was they could write the content. Like I did this once. I hired this dude to write 50 articles. And, this is 10 years ago when you could write a bunch of articles and post it, spam the internet with them. He wrote the articles and he sent them back to me. And it was like, oh, sweet. Okay. Oh, crap. Now I have to go check every article to see if it's plagiarized. And, okay, they're not plagiarized, so I pay him. And now, oh, crap, I have to go and post these articles on these websites. And, oh, crap, I got to go through them and find ways to link them back to my website. And, oh, man, I got to modify this header. And I have to go to every one of these websites and post the article. And I was like, dude, this sucks. I don't want to do this. But he was a contract worker, right? Like his job was to write articles. It wasn't to do this entire marketing process.
Yep.
So I found that contract workers, or like a freelancer one-time thing, just wasn't going to work for me. I needed someone who worked for me.
Right.
And they could do the entire process and take it off of my plate so I didn't have to do it anymore.
Right.
And that's what I found in the Philippines.
Right. Cool. And so you had these guys for 18 months. How did you find these first 2?
So I got a really good tip from someone to an agency in the Philippines. They were called Agents of Value. They have offices in the Philippines. They recruit workers and they bring them into their office in the Philippines, and then they mark up their salary and lease them to you, basically. Right. So the good thing was, it was like the person only worked for me. They were full-time for me. Instead of, like Tim Ferriss in 4 Hour Workweek, he talks about a company that, like, you just give them tasks and they find somebody in their company to do the task.
Right.
And in that situation, you have to have exact, perfect instructions for them.
Right.
And if you mess up, then crap doesn't get done and you pay for crappy work.
Right.
Where with someone who works for you, you can give them instructions. And in the Philippines, the good thing is they're not monkeys.
Right.
Like, they'll think through crap.
Right.
So if you missed some instructions, they'll try and read between the lines and they'll try and figure it out. And then if they miss it, then you give them more instructions because they just work for you and it's a long-term hire. And so the more you train them, the better off you are for a long time. So like the first dude who was writing those articles for me 11 years ago is still working for me today.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So you get these first couple and now your hand is forced. 3 weeks go by. You're like, hey, the wheels haven't fallen off. I'm actually having a life. Money's still coming in. How did you scale that?
So my next step the next 2 months after my wife had the baby, so there was 3 months there where I just didn't work, but my brain was working. Like
3 weeks or 3 months? 3 months.
So 3 weeks before she had the baby.
Before she had the baby, and then
2 months afterwards, where I just kept golfing every day with my. I took my.
No. We're going to edit this out. He was not golfing. He was sitting by his wife's side, holding hot and cold compresses on her forehead and ankle and neck. Okay, go ahead. Please continue.
So my brain was still working, and I was like, at some point, I have to work because I'm bored.
Right.
Like, there's only so many compresses I can put on my wife's head in a day. There's only so many trips to the golf course I can make every day, right? And so I figured, this has gone really well, this outsourcing thing. Let me see the extreme that I can take this to and see if I can make this better.
Right.
Because I learned these guys are like capable and competent.
Right.
So from there, I designed a business based around them doing all of the work. That was the basis of it.
Right.
And so I started this business where they built the website and they wrote the content and they did the affiliate stuff and they joined the affiliate programs and they did the marketing, they did the SEO and they did the AdWords and they did the Craigslist and they did all of the things that I knew how to do. They did all of it.
Okay.
I just guided the process. Like I told them, okay, now it's time to start SEO. Here's what we're going to do for SEO. Go do it. And it worked.
How would you do that? Just like a little screen share? Would you just, do some recorded things and send it to them? Do you have conference calls?
So, yeah, that's one of the really amazing things that made this work was Jing came out.
Right.
That let me record my screen and talk to them.
Yeah.
While they're looking at what I'm seeing on my computer, and I can point my mouse and say, hey, I really like this.
Yeah.
And so I record videos, and Jing makes it so stinking easy that anybody can do it. I use it like 30 times a day today.
Still.
Oh, yeah. Well, I use Snagit, which is another product by the same company.
But same concept.
Same thing.
You're doing quick snapshots saying, hey, knock this out, move this over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Search this keyword like this.
Yeah, right. And where I can talk my way through it and they can see exactly what I'm saying. Instead of me like writing an email that's like 10 paragraphs long trying to describe something, right?
Right.
And then it only takes me as long as it takes me to describe it instead of writing it,
Right.
So it takes me way less time and it's more clear for them.
Right.
So that's how I would get them to do things. Like, here's SEO. And Jing would limit it to 5 minutes. Like, right. I can only make a 5-minute video, so I'd make 8 of them.
Right.
And I'd teach them everything about it. And then when I hired someone else to do SEO, to build more of these websites, I just gave them the same trainings that
right.
I had already created.
Right.
So
that was 10 or 11 years ago. I mean, things have changed a bit online, right? Because you'd mentioned grab the articles, basically spam the internet with your stuff.
Right. That doesn't work anymore.
Right. So are you I mean, you're still the visionary, right? Keeping your finger on the pulse, changing priorities, or have they evolved to the point now where they're even kind of looking over the horizon, or is that even their job? Is their job to simply execute your vision, or do they contribute to the vision?
Both. They contribute today. So I'll give you a couple examples. I don't ever touch anything today. So back then, I was running the Facebook ads.
That's what your wife says, man. Can you do the dishes a little bit? Okay. I mean, just carry the vacuum cleaner upstairs, please. I mean, something. Okay. But all right. Anyway.
So back then, I would like set up a WordPress site, and then I'd say, hey, how about you do like this and this and this, right? And then I'd get involved and I'd touch stuff because I was like, okay, I see what's going on here. Today, I won't touch anything. I don't do programming anymore. I don't touch any content writing. I don't look at Facebook ads or Google ads. That's all on them. They do all of it. But sometimes, I'll give you a couple of examples. We run Facebook ads, and we have a Facebook account and do Facebook normal posts because they pushed me to do it. Because one of my people came to me and said, hey, I think we should be running Facebook. Like, we should be marketing on Facebook. We should be posting and making our business available. And I said no, because I hate Facebook. And this is probably 6 years ago, something like that. I said, no, I hate Facebook. I don't want anything to do with it. It's the biggest time suck ever for me, and I don't want it. And she came back again a couple weeks later and said, hey, we should be doing this. I was like, why? I don't understand. I don't want to do it. No. She came back like a month later. Here's my plan for how we can do this. I want to do it. I was like, fine. I like your plan. Show me some posts that you'll make. Like, write them up and send me 20 posts, the first 20 posts that you're going to make. Because I want to see, I don't want crap being posted. And so she started sending me stuff, and I was like, okay, this one's good, this one's not. Let's modify this. Let's change this. Today, and I had her start. Today, I don't touch any of it.
Now, are you talking about is this a personal profile, a business, or both?
So it started with a business, and then it evolved into business and my personal, where one of my girls in the Philippines just posts everything.
Okay.
And we have 130,000 likes or something like that. And she's never done anything stupid. She's never paid for likes or done anything dumb like that. It's all just natural. She's just done the work.
Okay.
And I don't have anything to do with it.
Right.
Or I'll give you another example like that, where in Online Jobs, we do a lot of back-end admin stuff for cleaning the site. We get a lot of people from India trying to join Online Jobs because there's a lot of employers and there's a lot of jobs. And so we get a lot of people that we don't want. And so one of my guys in the Philippines that manages that process of kind of filtering, he comes to me with ideas like, hey, I think we should build this report that pulls data like this out of the system so that we can see this piece and this piece and this piece, and it'll help us better identify problem areas in the site. Sweet, that's a great idea. Here, you work with that programmer to build this thing. So today they contribute.
Right. But it did take a while.
It took some time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so one of the interesting things with the Philippines is, as Americans, we often think, oh, I don't know if I can trust that person.
Right. Where
with them, it's the exact opposite. They think, oh, I don't know if I can trust this boss.
Right.
And until they trust you, and it's not that they can trust you to pay them, which that is a concern that you won't pay them, but they want to trust you that you won't berate them,
right.
That you won't fire them when they make a mistake, that you won't be mad at them or upset with them when they make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because that's a really big thing in their culture. And as soon as they trust you, they'll start doing really awesome stuff for you. Until they trust you, you have to guide everything.
Right. So, got to be a little patient, huh?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things that I see. This isn't for everybody. What I do isn't for everybody. Those who have zero patience is not going to work.
Right.
You know, you're not going to live the lifestyle that I live doing what I do.
Right.
If you're not willing to be patient with someone and see, oh, they made a mistake.
Right.
You know, if you want everything done perfectly the first time, this isn't for you.
So where's your focus now? Is it just on the OnlineJobs.ph?
Yeah. So what we found was people really love OnlineJobs.ph. Like, we have over 300,000 Filipino resumes, and employers love coming in and seeing, oh my gosh, I can hire a full-time programmer for $800 a month full-time, and he's amazing.
Right.
Or I can hire a content writer for $400 a month, and they're fluent in English and they can do whatever I want. Or I can hire a data entry person for $350 a month, and holy crap, there's all this data entry that I'm doing in my business that I don't have to do now.
Right.
And they're competent, you know?
So yours is a job board, right? It's do you have a service that does any kind of screening, or do people pay for access and then they find their own?
People pay for access and they find their own.
Okay.
We have done a bunch of stuff to make the process easier and better.
Right.
And we're very active. So, like, you could go onto Craigslist and post your job.
Right.
But because Craigslist is free, it's a free-for-all, there's just scams everywhere. There's employers scamming.
No way.
I mean, obviously. There's workers. The worker scams are crazy on Craigslist.
Yeah.
The people who will say, oh, yeah, I'll do this for you. And they're really good at getting money out of you and not doing your work.
Right.
Because there's nobody looking at anything. So we're very active with, like, preventing employers from scamming workers.
Right.
And so workers trust us, and so we get better quality workers.
Right.
And then we're very active with getting rid of scammer workers. And before they get hired, we're pretty good at finding them.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of stuff that we do. It's not just a free-for-all job board.
Right. So, I mean, if you're making 30 videos a day, I mean, you're still obviously involved in your business, right? But you're involved versus consumed.
Yes. So, like, I'll say, and you know, yeah, I spend about 2.5 hours a day working today. Okay. And during that time, it is 100% giving feedback to people, or giving training to people, or thinking through a process and designing how this thing should work.
Right.
And so it's all like, hey, here's how this is going to work. You know, I'm making a video, or it's a screenshot. Hey, I like, this piece needs to get fixed, or hey, here's a bug, or hey, you know, it's all speaking to someone else saying, go do this work.
Right. Do you have people, do you have like a manager that's like working nights so you can have real time communication, or is it asynchronous?
No, it's all asynchronous.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have anything that is time sensitive.
Right.
Right.
You're just steadily growing your business. And so just foundational things, just keep steadily improving.
Right. So, like, all of our marketing, it happens. People are doing their jobs. They have jobs of doing marketing, and none of it's urgent. You know, forum posting happens. All of our advertising happens.
Right.
You know, Facebook and Instagram happens. Customer service happens. People have jobs, and it's their job to do customer service. You know, the website gets built. And
then are they in an office, or is everybody virtual?
Everybody's virtual. They all work from home.
That's awesome.
We have 21 people full-time who work from home.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great.
And so through your website, do you explain to people how they can pay? Because I know people, I've had VAs for years too overseas, and it's pretty smooth. But I mean, people are concerned about it, right? Am I going to get somebody good? How do I pay them? How do I track their time? I mean, do you have tutorials and things like that to alleviate some of those concerns? Yeah,
at OnlineJobs. So if you look at the top of OnlineJobs, there's an education link, and there's all kinds of training there for, like, the recruiting process I go through when I recruit someone, or
or the managing process that I use to manage people to turn them into rock star workers, or how to pay, or we have a time tracking software that's free to use on Online Jobs. So all of that is available
right
at Online Jobs.
So when did you make that shift from, hey, I'm going to use these guys to grow my affiliate business, to I'm going to use these guys to make a whole new business?
It was actually kind of a long-term thing where I started, when I had those guys building my affiliate businesses, I was in a mastermind, and we had phone calls every week. It was awesome. Up until I found myself talking every single week on that mastermind about these guys in the Philippines, because everybody kept asking every week. And finally I was like, dude, I can't keep doing this. And so I recorded myself talking for like an hour
right.
About how I was doing it and how I dealt with them and what I had them do. And the demand for that audio went crazy.
Right.
And so I started teaching it. And then the way we found people at the time was it just sucked. It was crappy. And so I decided there's got to be a better way. And so we started this marketplace, and that went crazy. Everybody wanted to use it. So,
right.
And then I had these guys, and that was like questionable at first. I was like, do I have these guys in the Philippines work on this? And they were thrilled to work on it. When I started having them work on it, they were thrilled.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's really good.
And so, I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk is probably, or probably not Gary, but probably all of his minions are probably mad at you because you're not hustling. You're not in the grind, man. What's wrong with you?
You know, I think there's a time to be hustling and in the grind. But that's not my goal in life. I like my wife and I like my kids.
We're going to have to, let me see. I got a timestamp here. I'm going to have to delete that. We can't have that public.
So like, I like spending time with them and I like what I do for work, but my family time is better.
Right.
You know? So I don't have to turn my company public.
Right.
You know, that's not my goal, is to go public and to work that's not me.
Right.
And I think most people, that's not them either. People just want to be comfortable. They want to have enough money so they can have time freedom. And what I found with the Philippines is that it allows me to do that.
Right. So what are you seeing now that's working in sales and marketing and getting the word out? Because there's more competition now for everything, even finding overseas staff. So what are you seeing that's working now?
So the interesting thing for me is because of the setup that I have with these people in the Philippines doing stuff, I don't know what works today because we do everything. We do everything that I know of. And I think the more you do, the more it combines. So even like silly stuff, like I have people that post in forums, right? They just contribute to forums. They don't advertise for us. They just contribute. And sometimes they find a post where they can talk about online jobs. And that contributes. And we run Facebook ads, and we do we post on Facebook regularly, and we post on Instagram, and we run Google ads, and we run retargeting ads, and they're all of the stuff that you hear about that people say, oh, you should do this. We do, and it all works. The one thing we don't do is email.
Oh yeah,
I stopped doing email a while ago because people don't like it. Nobody likes getting emails in their inbox. So
very interesting. Well, man, I thought you had just one secret, so I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to have to probably screen my guests a little better. All right, I'll probably keep some of this. It reminds me of Dan Kennedy. He'd say, I don't know how to get you 30 leads, but I know 30 ways to get you one lead.
Yeah, and that's right. And what I find is it's not 30 ways to get you one lead. It's this way will get you one lead, and this way will get you one lead, and this way will get you one lead. And when you do all three of them, you'll end up with 5 leads.
Yeah.
Instead of 3. And when you do 4 more of those, you'll end up with 20 leads.
Because they cross-pollinate, and they see your Facebook ad, and see the retargeting, and they go back, and boom, 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 and you're right.
The adage that, I don't know, maybe I heard it from McDonald's, that was like people need to see your message 7 times before they want to eat your hamburger.
Yep.
It's real. So the more you do, the better off you are. And I can do more because these people in the Philippines are doing it for me.
I saw something not too long ago. It was, and I forget the type of business, maybe it was dry cleaning or whatever, but they were like, open on Sundays. And it was a weird service. They were like, it's open on Sundays. And they were like, the amount of revenue they get on that day didn't justify being open. But the cumulative effect, basically, like, you're driving by, 6 p.m. on a Sunday and you see this thing's open. Their lights are on, right? And it reminds you. So then on Monday and Tuesday, right, you go, oh, yeah, that dry cleaner, they're open. And so the compound effect, their overall business grew cumulatively when they were open, like later hours or weekends or whatever, when everybody else wasn't.
Right.
So that was kind of the same thing you're saying, that compounding effect of being everywhere.
Right.
Builds up rather than just, the sum is greater than its parts, right?
Yeah, so even though, like, I'm pretty confident I could run Facebook ads better than the person in the Philippines who's doing it for me.
Right.
I'm pretty dang confident I could run the Google ads better than they can. I'm pretty confident I can do forum posting better or guest blog posting or whatever it is that we're doing better than whoever else is doing it. But I can't do all of those things.
Right.
And it's all getting done. And it's
go ahead.
And it's effective. That's it.
That's awesome. So we have 7 kids. So should I go get my wife pregnant, or can I just start having 2-hour work days starting now?
I only have 5, so I don't know how to handle your situation, man.
Can I put my kids to work, or should I just hire more Filipinos?
You should hire more Filipinos. It's better, and then teach your kids how to run their own businesses.
All right, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Some are receptive, some are not, and I'm not going to force them.
Totally.
I always let them choose their own path.
I have a 14-year-old son that my only option with him when he was 11 was to either discourage him from being an entrepreneur, like say, sorry, you can't do this because I don't want to help you.
Right.
Or I could help him. And today he runs 3 different businesses and makes all kinds of money, and I have to take his money away from him because he has too much money as a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Right? No, son, you're not hiring a driver and buying your own Lamborghini. None for that.
He's 14 and he's like, I'm saving up. I'm going to buy a Jeep when I'm 16. I'm like, dude, whatever, man.
Dad, fidget spinners are hot. I'm going to buy 1 million of them.
He did, dude. He bought 20 of them on his own with his bank debit card and ordered them and sold them at school.
Well, 20's fine.
20, right, yeah. Well, he did it and he knew, okay, I'm out because everybody else is into this now. And he sold all of his, and everybody else now has their inventory.
Well, living in California and, moving from Texas in 2004 to California and seeing, we had a little bubble in Texas, the high tech, Dell being there and everything. And then moving to California when things had gotten frothy with real estate, I came up with the Denny's waitress theory of investing. Would you like to hear this very profound, very insightful theory?
Yeah, let me hear it. So
when your waitress at Denny's is giving you investment advice, then that market is in a bubble and it's time to get out.
Yeah.
So, back in 2000, right, everyone was a day trader, and I'm finishing up a few more trades and I'm quitting this job, right? And then in 2004, and then here in California, every waitress was buying and flipping houses,
right?
And I'm like, oh my gosh, and it was horrific here. We were literally at ground zero for the mortgage fraud. nurses, making 50 grand, 60 grand, had 5 mortgages, so your son's smart. I mean, when everybody's in it, it's time to shift.
Yeah.
But at least I only did 20 of them. A guy hit me up in a parking lot at the gym 2 months ago. He had 1,500 fidget spinners.
Sorry,
oh my gosh.
You're not selling those. They're in every gas station.
Oh my gosh. All right, man. So final parting words of wisdom. I like to ask our guests, imagine our listeners, they're jogging, they're at the gym, right? They're on a plane, they're riding a bike, they're listening to this, they can't take notes. What do they do as a result of listening to this? As soon as they get back to their desk, as soon as they have a Wi-Fi connection, what would you encourage them to do to turn their business around and turn their sales around, to turn their life around and get back in control?
So everybody listening to this has thought of something like, I could get someone in the Philippines to do this, right? My only thing is, the only way for you to know if this will work for you is to go try and hire someone. And a lot of people thought, I have a contact in Vietnam. I'll go to Vietnam for this. It's different in the Philippines. I'm telling you, it is a different situation than anywhere else in the world. And there's a whole bunch of cultural things that go into this that I could go into. But you will have a different experience.
Right.
So give it a try and hire someone. And whether you use agents of value or a 1-2-3 employee or what's the other one? There's a whole bunch of different companies that'll hire people for you and mark up their salaries. I don't care if you use one of them or you use Online Jobs or whatever. Go hire someone full time and see if that changes your life. And if it doesn't, then you're good, But if it does, and you got 3 hours out of your week back, man, that's such a big deal.
Right.
And stuff's happening in your business and it's moving forward and you're not the one doing the work. So you just have to give it a try and see if it works.
Well, and you need to also get out of your own head that this isn't a sweatshop, right? You're paying somebody $5 or $8 an hour, $800 a month.
Yeah.
You're not abusing them or taking advantage of them. I mean, it's good money for where they live, right?
And as soon as you do it, you'll see, oh my gosh, this person is unbelievably grateful for the job that I just gave them.
Yeah.
And for the opportunity. I mean, it's crazy the amount. You'll see, you'll change people's lives and you won't just change their life. You'll change generations' lives as you hire someone. Yeah. Where before they just have a crappy job. Yeah. They work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And they make $350 a month. And all of a sudden you're letting them work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Right.
And they make $450 a month,
Right.
It's you'll see it changes their life.
Yep. Amen. I've seen it. Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for giving us 40 minutes of your 2.5 hours of work today.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. So we will link to you, but it is OnlineJobs.ph.
Yep.
I got it pulled up right now. I'm going to spend a little time on there as well as we speak, man. Well, John, thanks for coming on the show. It's been great having you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been good.
All right, man. Have a great day.
Talk to you later.
If that doesn't open your eyes to new potentials, I don't know what will. And you know what? Your competition is probably doing this. I'm seeing everything being outsourced. I'm seeing accounting being outsourced, obviously web design, but I'm seeing even the medical profession. They are sending x-rays and MRIs, CAT scans overseas to India and other places to have well-trained people. They just happen to be in a foreign country where the cost of living is less. They're hiring them to read reviews, and make diagnoses of x-rays and things like that. So in today's day and age, everything's a commodity except you. Your vision, your service, how you treat people, that is not a commodity. So you need to do all you can to to stack the odds, to put yourself in front of more people so they can engage with you, learn from you, get to know, like, and trust you. And you're going to have to do that by outsourcing and outsourcing overseas. Hate to say it, but if you're in a services business, this can be a way to certainly help you grow, help you scale, help you improve your profitability. And I know being a veteran, being a red-blooded American, People may say that's un-American, right? But what is truly an American, right? It's somebody seeking freedom. It's somebody that wants to live life on their own terms. It's somebody that wants to dictate how they work, when they work, how much they earn. And, I'm happy to help people do that, both in America and overseas. But, man, just like John had mentioned, he tried to hire local. People literally steal the ideas. If you don't hire the right VA, they'll be lazy. So it's a conundrum, right? It's a catch-22. It's whatever cliche you want to call it. It's interesting times. I live here in California, in this state. They just passed this cap and trade bill. They just passed a 70 to 90 cent gas tax on top of, I already pay $1 more per gallon for gas than Arizona. And now I'm going to be paying almost $2 per gallon more. How do I keep costs down when it costs so much money to have an office, to have local staff, to pay HR and insurance and everything else? I have to pass those costs on to you, the consumer. Everybody wants to berate Walmart, but everybody's still shopping there. You won't go to your local guy because they cost too much. But then you say that Walmart's driving out jobs. You, the consumer, vote with your pocketbook. You vote with your wallet. And people consistently are looking to save money. Now, in the Make Every Sale program, I teach you how to overcome the price objection. Because a lot of times it's not really an objection. It's just a loop, a script that people have been taught to say by rote, memorization. Over time, it's a reaction. So you can overcome it. But the reality is, if somebody local wants to charge me $45 an hour, and I can get 90% of that work done for $5 an hour, why do I pay $45 an hour? At some point, the price just becomes so extreme that you have to go overseas. And trust me, I've interviewed people. I'm going through this right now. I wasn't lying on this interview. I'm hiring people, trying to hire people, but trying to find people in the States that are motivated and affordable is hard. So, hey, I'm going overseas with some of my work. And I'm doing local for some, and certainly in the U.S. for some. But what is truly made in America now? It is so tough to find something that is 100% made in America. And I mean the cars, the trucks that deliver your stuff, the oil, right? It's turned into gas, the lighting fixtures. I love Apple, but man, those things are assembled overseas. So what is truly 100% made in America? I don't know that it exists. So our job is to do the best we can, serve the needs of as many people as we can. Like Zig Ziglar said, you can have whatever you want if you help enough people get what they want. That's what I'm doing. Doing it the best way I know how, so I can be more present for my own family, take care of my own, get my house in order, right? So then I can serve more people in other ways beyond just work. There's a whole lot else out there: community, faith, fitness. So if I have to do that by outsourcing some work overseas, so be it. But hey, thanks for listening. If you want to sell more, faster, at higher margin with less stress and more fun, and you're getting objections about price and other things, check out the Make Every Sale program, makeeverysale.com. Join us now for life while you still can. Thanks for listening. Please share this. Please leave us a 5-star review. Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter. Let me know you like the episode, what other questions you might have. And now, go sell something.